What's going on, everyone? Nick Filato with Big Blue View here to do a little breakdown on a wide receiver who may interest the New York Football Giants, and that is 2022 Fred Biletnikoff award-winning wide receiver Jalin Hyatt out of the University of Tennessee. We all know how important speed is at the wide receiver position and how that can fundamentally change an offense and how the defense is going to play said offense. Adding a player like Jalin Hyatt to a team like the New York Football Giants can allow them to create more explosive plays, which was the New York Giants' biggest Achilles heel on offense. They ranked dead last in creating explosive plays last year. That is behind the Los Angeles Rams. That is behind the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that has to change. A player like Jalin Hyatt, who predominantly aligned in the slot, can significantly help the New York Giants overcome that issue and hopefully bring Daniel Jones, if he is the quarterback next year, bring his game to a whole nother level. But before we get into Hyatt's tape, we should discuss Josh Heupel's offense. It's a zone-run, vertical spread-based offense, and there are tons of teams in the NFL that use a lot of spread concepts, but this one is a little bit more unconventional because they will legit align stacked wide receivers, 2x2 sets, both outside the numbers. You'll have Jalin Hyatt align like 2 yards from the sideline, a yard from the sideline. It forced defenses to defend every inch of the field, which really set up the explosive passing nature of Tennessee's offense, led by Hendon Hooker, who you'll definitely see plenty of in this video. The offense was designed to spread defenses out to exploit them by attacking space. And when you do use every single inch of the field and you can successfully run the football 5, 6, 7 yard runs, then those safeties are going to start cheating toward their run fits. And those apex defenders, those overhang defenders, will start cheating inside a little bit. And when you have a wide receiver like Jalin Hyatt, all he needs is a split second to leverage that insane, elite speed and acceleration to just blow past defensive backs, and he did that quite often at the collegiate level. Let's get into some of his film. The 2022 Biletnikoff Award winner and consensus unanimous first-team All-American burst onto the scene as the most explosive playmaker in college football. Hyatt caught 5 touchdown passes, which you'll see in a little bit, against the Alabama Crimson Tide. Yes, the Nick Saban coached Alabama Crimson Tide in their upset victory. Hyatt finished 2022 with 67 catches on 89 targets for 1,267 yards with 15 touchdowns. He averaged 18.9 yards per catch. Hyatt played 88.7% of his snaps in the slot. He finished his time in Tennessee with 151 targets, 108 catches, 1,769 yards, and 19 touchdowns. And I would get your popcorn ready for the 2023 NFL Scouting Combine because Hyatt is primed to shine. Yes, I understand this is a player who was somewhat of a one-year wonder, and a lot of people say things like he is a one-trick pony. I understand that, but that one trick is a true difference-making trick. And I think he's a little bit more than a one-trick pony. I also don't believe he's a fully complete wide receiver. There are elements of his game that I feel like he can certainly improve. He had a very limited route tree playing in Josh Heupel's offense, just a lot of curls, as you could see on the screen right now, a lot of verticals, a lot of deep overs, and just a lot of quick out routes from stacks, things like that, some design touches, a lot of things that were schemed up for him. Like I said, he only had the 1 year of production and only had 41 catches in his previous 2 seasons at the University of Tennessee. I also felt like for someone with his type of speed, he would be a little bit more elusive, which wasn't something I really saw too much on his film, making players miss, defenders miss in space. That's something that I wish I saw a little bit more of, and you never really see him too often go up and make impressive contested catches. He was wide open on the majority of his routes, but the contested catches are something that I question just a little bit, albeit he is somebody who shows strong hands and will extend away from his frame and pluck the ball out of the air. His release package against press is somewhat undetermined just because he didn't face press all that often. Try being a college defensive back, attempting to press Jalin Hyatt and missing. There is no shot in hell you're going to be able to catch up to him. As I run through these plays once more, some of the things that are just very, very impressive about Jalin Hyatt. Speed, explosiveness. This guy is like a gazelle out there with elite acceleration, elite speed, and he is tailor-made to create explosive plays at the next level. Again, something the New York Giants need. I feel like he does a good job selling his vertical stem to really eat into the cushion of opposing defensive backs. And you can see throughout this video that I'm running through, there are plenty of times whenever teams were in man coverage against Jalin Hyatt, they were aligned so far off of him, which allowed him to run deep curl routes. Here's one against Cam Smith that you can see on the screen right now. Cam Smith is likely going to be a first-round pick, and here's another one against Cam Smith at the bottom of the screen. You can see there's just so much space, so it's just an easy 10 yards. And it might not be as easy at the next level in the NFL, but his speed forces defenders to just back off of him, and then he can run the routes, quick curls, comebacks, and things of that nature, and just take advantage of the space that the defender is giving him because defenders are so scared to get blown away by his elite speed. Another thing I also appreciate about Jalin Hyatt is his competitive toughness. This is somebody who will block his ass off, and I love that about him because then you can align him in line a little bit more, and you can really be deceptive with how you're employing his skill set. So the one trump card that he has is the speed, and it is an elite trump card. And we're going to go through all these plays and give a brief description on how and what exactly happened. Let's do that right now. Here's a 3rd and 7 against Missouri. If you're going to be a deep threat in the NFL, if you're going to stretch the field vertically, you best know how to track the football and have the type of body control and adjustment ability to locate it and secure it. Jalin Hyatt has that ability, right? So it's not just the speed, it's also the ball tracking ability into his hands. And we see that against this Missouri defensive back. I think this is a safety. And look, this is not a great position. I'll be the first one to say this. For a safety to be in, you're about 5 yards off of Jalin Hyatt. You're not pressing him at the line of scrimmage, so you're not going to impose your physical nature on a player like Jalin Hyatt, who isn't the biggest guy. He's about 6 foot, 185 pounds. We'll have to see his actual measurements at the combine, but you just give him a free outside release with no help whatsoever, because the number 2 right there is going to be held by this hitch from number 1 from Tennessee. And you just blow right by him, and you can see right here, easy for Jalin Hyatt. He's running up the numbers. He gets to the numbers, and then he locates the football, and he just adjusts. Hendon Hooker puts a beautiful pass right up the sideline. He just secures it, gets both feet in bounds before number 4 can get over there. Hyatt shows good tracking ability while moving right here, right into his hands, soft hands to corral the football. And he does present soft hands as a wide receiver. And this is just an excellent mismatch for Hyatt to find himself in against this safety, because the Missouri defense is going to attempt to get tricky. Because you have both of these linebackers sugaring the line of scrimmage a little bit. They're both going to bail off, and then they're going to blitz both of these for a 5-man pressure, which is going to leave this safety in a one-on-one situation against Hyatt. And watch how Hyatt eats into this defensive back's cushion. You can see how the defensive back is completely cognizant of who this is, and he attempts to be like, okay, don't go inside, don't go inside, don't go inside. But the vertical sell and just the overall speed of Jalin Hyatt really gets this cornerback to start, or the safety, I should say, to start cheating just a little bit. He shuffles his feet, he opens up, and that gives Hyatt this free access right inside. And you can see how he just takes it, speed turn by the safety, quick enough to stop Hyatt from scoring a touchdown, but you can just see the overall threat that Hyatt presents from the number 2, and this is to the boundary side. And trust me, you'll see throughout this video, if you have not picked up on it already, Hendon Hooker can make the throws from the far hash well outside the numbers to the field side, and he has done that several times. But right here, this is a field side throw, just a deep horizontal cross, where Hooker diagnoses this blitz, sees both of these guys bailing, knows this guy is not going to drop to a depth, meaning that this safety, is in a one-on-one situation against one of the fastest players in college football. Hooker just hits that back foot, sees how this player is setting up, knows that there's going to be an entire voided area over here, and all Hyatt has to do has to get this defensive back to commit and flip his hips inside, and that's exactly what happens. Great job right there, plucking that football out of the air by Hyatt, and then he gets tackled by the safety, who executes a solid speed turn. And here are the 5 touchdown passes against Alabama by Jalin Hyatt. I believe Hooker had 6 touchdown passes in this game, 5 of them were to Hyatt. Hyatt is going to be right up here at the top of your screen, and I believe that Nick Saban's defense is in some sort of stump variation, which is a means to defend 3-by-1 sets. It's like a quarters variation. You see we're going to have a fast 3 here, which is going to shift these linebackers this way. And one reason why I think it is some sort of stump variation is because if we pay attention to the apex defender and the safety, they're going to be reading 3-2. And what I mean by 3-2 is now that you have this fast 3, you're going to see the attention from this player flash to the 3, because this player right here is going to have 3 to the flat if these players are not vertical. And that slight hesitation when you have a player like Jalin Hyatt just reading the route distribution of other players is enough to allow Jalin Hyatt just to blow right past you. It's one of the most dangerous things when you're defending a player like Jalin Hyatt, and we could see that right here. So you can watch right here, this player releases like he's going inside. So this apex defender might be thinking that this player is going to assume him if he goes like this way, or you'll have these linebackers and this safety who is also looking in this direction take Jalin Hyatt. So he sees this inside release from Hyatt, and you can see how his eyes focus right on the 3. Because if the 3 goes to the flat and the 1 goes vertical, then it's going to be his responsibility to go down and take the number 3. But that's not what happens. This is going to be an initial inside stem and up from Jalin Hyatt. And right there, this is where this player and this player both realize that 3 to the flat is not the threat. It's Jalin Hyatt going vertical, but because of Jalin Hyatt's speed, nobody can keep up with him. And Jalin Hyatt just blows right past both of them. That's just knowing the defensive tendencies and how to exploit them. One of the many reasons, too, why you like to incorporate these fast 3s against these defenses that use a lot of pattern match type of principles. You can see it once again. Inside release, eyes to the 3, eyes to the 3. He starts looking to see, oh, is this guy, Jalin Hyatt, coming over the middle of the field? Do I have to wall him off? Do I have to pass him off to a safety? Do I have to sink underneath? What am I doing? It's all a ruse. He's just going to blow right past him. He doesn't go inside. It's a vertical route. Easy touchdown for Jalin Hyatt. Now, here's another touchdown by Jalin Hyatt. You have him aligned as an H-back. Remember, before I said that he's a player that Tennessee would align in tight, condensed formations inside because he is a willing blocker. He is a competitive blocker. Is he going to stand up against TJ Watt? Absolutely not. But he's going to block his ass off. And when you can do that, you can align him in positions like this or in an H-back spot. You can hike the football and you can fake like you're going in this direction and force the defense to flow. And now you have Jalin Hyatt coming in the flat right here with just this safety to beat. That is a losing situation, even in the NFL, let alone against Alabama. Poor old ref right there. He just got hit by a Tennessee crossing route. Tried to get out of the way. Oh, poor guy right there. One more time. But Hyatt has the speed to get to the pylon. Touchdown. That's touchdown number 2. And now we're going to have touchdown number 3 to Jalin Hyatt. Hendon Hooker. This is just a boundary side throw, but just blows past number 2. And this is just pure speed on display. And let's look at Josh Heupel's alignment here. You have a guy who is just a couple yards to the field side outside the numbers, and he is still a threat. There are a lot of NFL quarterbacks who don't traditionally make these throws, but with a player like Hendon Hooker, he could attack this. And I know this is a boundary throw, but this is just Jalin Hyatt just winning with speed, right? Just a out and up. And another great thing that I feel like this offense does quite often is they have these stacked type of variations. And this is going to be an inside type of route from the number 1, and then you're just going to have the number 2 off leverage. You can eat into this off leverage, go out, force that cornerback's hips to go downward, and then with Hyatt speed, bye-bye, go right up the sideline. It's exactly what happens. Watch how that cornerback, or that defensive back, I should say, reacts. He starts to flatten his path out, believing that it's going to be a comeback route, and he wants to force Hyatt out of bounds. But Hyatt has the type of body control to just fake that. You see that head turn right there? And then just explode back up. And it's not even too rounded of a route. See how he fakes the head? The head fake is what really sold this cornerback on coming downhill. And then he just turns the jets right back on, and he blows past an Alabama defender. And it's an Alabama defender. It's no slouch right there. Here's another touchdown by Hyatt. He's just going to split the defense. Runs through the tackle, and he takes it to the house. But if we look at exactly what happened, again, we're going to have a stack well outside the numbers. This is something that Tennessee used quite often. You have the other receiver all the way on that side with 2 running backs in the backfield. It's a lot of space to defend. And what Hyatt is going to do, he's going to allow this wide receiver to engage the press defender, then he's going to get a free release. Designing free releases is something that Josh Heupel does very, very well. And now this defensive player, number 13, is isolated against Jalin Hyatt, and Jalin Hyatt can run into space. And you have a safety who is lurking in that direction. Now he has to flip his hips and try to catch up, but he can't cut the angle off because he just doesn't have the overall athletic ability to stop a player like Jalin Hyatt. And this is another great aspect of this offense that makes it so damn dangerous is when they can run the football and how they run the football, because you have an extra fullback back here who can block, or running back, whatever you really want to call him. But that play action element to just fake like you're going to run and then flash your eyes in this direction, that's what really gets these defenders to kind of flow in this way towards the field side where there is just an absolute ton of space to deal with. Hyatt gets that free inside release isolated against 13 and just uses his athletic ability to blow right past him. And that's just not something every wide receiver can do, because not every wide receiver can outrun Alabama defenders like we're seeing Jalin Hyatt do in the previous couple clips. And here's his last touchdown that he scored. This is just more of a traditional quick post type of route, where it wasn't him just using insane athletic ability, but he's in the red zone. He's up against this player right here, and he's able to eat into the cushion. Little fake at the top of his break right there. You see how he plants really hard, head fake, shoulder fake, acts like he could possibly be running a 7 route, and then he explodes out of his break. And it's not always the most refined or crisp routes kind of coming out of his breaks. It's just an abundance of speed to deal with. And now he has the space on 11, who is in solid coverage, but number 2 is way over here, and Hooker's already rearing back to throw the football. Hooker throws it, and you love how he extends away from his frame and he catches the football. Look, he's not body catching here, right? He is plucking it out of the air and catching the football before 11 and 2 can really deliver that big hit on him. And he gets hit, but he has the football within his grasp by that point. And that play action element, again, when you spread the defense out like Josh Heupel does, he has all these guys, all this space to defend, and you use the play action, these defenders have to cheat up. They have to respect the run, and that allows Hyatt to go right behind him. And if you have a quarterback who can deliver in a timely fashion, then this happens. Touchdown, Tennessee Volunteers. When you have the type of speed Jalin Hyatt possesses, it's not just winning vertically that is always at your disposal, right? You can also win because of the way the defense is playing you in a short manner. And that's exactly what happened when Jalin Hyatt played against Cam Smith, who was going to more than likely be a first-round pick or a high second-round pick, number 9 for the Gamecocks right here, who wanted to play Jalin Hyatt. But look, he's off Jalin Hyatt by about 11 yards. And that's not just because of the situation or the down and distance. This is the manner he was playing him. This is a good man coverage cornerback, because when he was assigned to man coverage with really no help over the top, he really respected Jalin Hyatt's speed. And watch the back pedal. You can see the back pedal. But at the time when Jalin Hyatt is breaking, he has 6 yards of space between Cam Smith and himself. So you can really sell that vertical stem and then just eat into the cushion, and it's going to force a back pedal, and then you can just break off and take an easy 10-yard curl. And that's something that Hyatt did throughout his time at Tennessee. And he's doing it against one of the top cornerbacks in the nation right here in Cam Smith. And one more thing about Hyatt, Hyatt has so much speed, so it takes him a while kind of to decelerate. There's a lot of steps there, right? Like I've seen wide receivers, even like Quentin Johnson, kind of come out of his breaks a little bit quicker. So it's one little, I guess, gripe I might have with a Hyatt. But man, when defenders are playing you in this manner and they're this scared of you, it can really change what your offense can do and how you can exploit a defense in so many ways, as we've seen throughout this entire video. I mean, Josh Heupel's offense is a fun offense to study, but a player like Jalin Hyatt had significantly took that offense to another level just because of his dynamic speed and playmaking ability. And you can see right here, again, it's Cam Smith. He's going to sell the vertical, get the hips turned. Hips are turned. I'm going to decelerate. I'm going to come back to the quarterback. I'm going to make that hands catch, which is important, and I absolutely love to see. And then Cam Smith comes and makes the tackle. Now here is the only catch that Jalin Hyatt had against Alabama that wasn't a touchdown. Yes, he had 6 catches for 207 yards with 5 touchdowns. And I actually really like this route because there's a little bit of wiggle and a little bit of deceptiveness to how he ran this route against off coverage against 1-3 right here. You can see how he fakes outside right before he stems inside. And I like that because when you have this much speed, this guy right here, number 13, is like, oh, crap, man, what do I do? I don't want to get blown past right now. So you have that quick little outside foot that just causes indecisiveness, and then you go back inside, get right on the heels of number 13, and that forces him to open his hips completely and start to panic, and then you break right back and find a soft spot. I really feel like this is a very, very good route that gives me a lot of reason to believe that Jalin Hyatt is going to be able to run routes well at the NFL level, despite the fact that he didn't really have a diverse route tree at the University of Tennessee. But there's a little bit of deceptiveness there, right? He's wiggling. He gets right into the heels, steps on his toes essentially, gets him to open his hips up, causes all that panic, then comes back and then presents his hands, soft hands, makes the catch. gets tackled. Really love that route from Jalin Hyatt. Right here, we're just going to see incredible throw from Hendon Hooker. And Jalin Hyatt just using his speed. Nothing too special here other than stuff we already understand and know about Jalin Hyatt, who was the number 2 receiver in man coverage against this poor SOB. But Hendon Hooker, ladies and gentlemen, this is a big boy throw. From the far hash, right? He looks to his left, allows Jalin Hyatt to win outside, knows this safety isn't going to do anything to get over there, knows he has a one-on-one situation, and watch him just heave this football. That is a beautiful pass, showing velocity, showing arm strength. And Hendon Hooker is just a player who can make throws like that. And here's Jalin Hyatt just using his speed to outrun a bunch of defenders who might not be NFL players. But regardless of the fact, you align him at the number 2. Before, I was talking about how he was winning on the curls because players were so nervous about his speed. Well, here, when you have the middle of the field open, you have these guys who are going to be either blitzing or not dropping to the necessary depth. You can also take advantage of the leverage that the defender is using against you by running these deep over routes. And when you have that type of speed, you can outrun the pursuit angles of the safety. And that's exactly what Hyatt does here. Hyatt just gets him into a slight back pedal and then turns, makes the catch. This guy slips for some reason, and no one's going to catch up to him. So you can run those deep over routes as well. This isn't going to be as translatable in the NFL because Hyatt is a great athlete, there's no doubt, but he is not a substantially better athlete than everybody who is at the NFL level. Here we see Hooker go into the play act fake. Just another phenomenal throw from the far hash outside the numbers. Hits Hyatt in stride. That's very, very impressive. Like Hendon Hooker can make the big boy NFL throws, and that's another reason why this offense was so successful at the collegiate level, was because when you want to align players out this wide, you need a quarterback who is going to be able to make those throws, and Hooker did not disappoint in that area. And here you're just going to kind of have a post wheel in somewhat of a way, right? Now, wasn't too much of space to wheel to because he's already aligned so wide, even though he is the number 2 wide receiver. He's at the top of the numbers. But this is a concept that Brian Daboll and Mike Kafka ran a lot, right? The number 1 wide receiver runs that post, gets this cornerback to go inside, forces this cornerback to run through traffic as the number 2 runs a wheel. The Giants didn't throw it all that often, but you could see how Hyatt is able to just accelerate right under the football and just kind of walk into the end zone. The Hooker's just making big boy throw after big boy throw. And here, this is a very nice route, very nice catch by Jalin Hyatt, and a really good throw, again, from the far hash. Remember, those hashes are much further apart at the collegiate level, so making throws from that far hash outside the numbers is very, very difficult. And this is a similar type of concept. You're going to have the 1 release to the inside, and you're going to have the 2, who is Jalin Hyatt, run to the outside. He tempos his release against man coverage really well. Tempos allows this receiver to cross his face, acts as if he's going to run a vert. I'm not sure if he was going to run the vert, but he saw how this defender played it, worked over the top of the traffic, put himself in a good position to kind of squeeze Hyatt, and then he realized, I don't have the leverage I like, so let me cut this route off and run a comeback route. And if that's the case, it's a very smart play from Jalin Hyatt here, who does a really good job extending away from his frame and making this nice catch for a first down. And here is the last play we're going to go over, and this kind of just speaks to what I was referring to a little bit earlier, which was you can align Jalin Hyatt inside, and people might not blink about it too much at the collegiate level. This formation right here is not like the previous formations we've seen, right? Yes, he's in the shotgun, the quarterback. You're going to have motion here, which is going to clear out 1-4, but you have Jalin Hyatt hiding essentially as an H-back type of player. And then you fake the jet sweep to 24, and you just release Hyatt and the other eligible receiver out. And nobody accounts for Hyatt. It's just smoke and mirrors, and I like the play concept. Hyatt doesn't necessarily really do anything here except for just run, which is something he's incredibly fantastic at. But I like the play design by Josh Heupel to get one of his best playmakers into a position where he can basically score one of the easiest touchdowns any player can score. Also like the fact that Hyatt's competitiveness as a blocker allows him to be positioned in that manner, and people won't think twice about it, or they might think twice about it just because he's so dangerous, but it's not the most unique thing they're going to see because Hyatt will block. And I'm not trying to make him out to be Zach Pascal or a player like that. It's just usually typically players with this type of profile, just pure speed guys, aren't known for their blocking. But Hyatt will block despite the fact that he's only like 6 foot, 185 pounds. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, a brief video, somewhat brief video of Jalin Hyatt, the Biletnikoff winner from this past season. And look, I don't know if he'll be a top 3 wide receiver in this class for me. I like his skill set, and I think when you have that difference-making type of trait, speed, field stretching ability, it can take your offense and fundamentally change it. And I think that's very valuable in today's NFL for a variety of different ways. It can significantly help the run game. It can help your quarterback and do a lot for you. I think he's an option for the Giants at 25. I do think there are a lot of aspects of his receiving profile that I have not seen quite yet. There are question marks still, and I haven't seen them proven, and there are aspects that I've talked about throughout the video that I'm a little bit concerned about, but in terms of just his athletic ability, his explosiveness, all of the traits that you want to throw out there, acceleration, all of that, it's elite. And finding a player at a position where there are fantastic athletes, finding a player who's in the top 1 percentile of those fantastic athletes, it's difficult to find. And that's more than likely the reason he's going to be a first-round pick. And if he ends up on the Giants, he's going to take that offense to another level. And the Giants won't rank last in explosive plays if he is there, more than likely, right? So he's a player who will be on the Giants board, I'm imagining, and we'll have to wait and see if he's going to be the selection. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll more than likely be doing quite a few of these. Please like, comment, subscribe if you have not. Let me know how I did on this video. That would be excellent. And also head on down to bigblueview.com where we're doing all of our written content. Chris Flum is doing a bunch of draft profiles down there as well. And I'll be coming out with these YouTube videos on players who I think the Giants may be interested in. It's going to be quite a few wide receivers. So thank you so much for tuning into this. I am Nick Filato, and let's go Giants.